What do you want to do?
What do you want to do?
What do you want to be?
What do you want to be?
What I want to know is
What I want to learn is
what I want to find out is how to do it.
How to get there.
How to get there.
How to get there.
How to be what I dream.
how to be what I dream.
How to be what I dream.
How to be what I dream. Be what I dream.
Be what I dream.
Navigation 101.
Navigation.
Navigation.
Navigation 101.
You know, if you were to talk to most educators, they've all taken the course in statistics, but it's not like data is their passion. However, in this case, it does provide us real, meaningful, and really essential information.
Researchers are going to be collecting data in 6 key areas around navigation to measure success. The first will be in student-led conferences. The second will be matriculation. The third will be enrollment in gatekeeper courses like advanced algebra, chemistry, and physics. WASL scores, obviously it's linked to achievement. Fifth element would be graduation rates, and sixth would be post-graduation remedial course needs.
This is data that the staff looks at in a staff meeting, that the leadership team reviews, and that on a deeper level, the implementation team, the navigation implementation team, looks more closely at these different indicators, and they say, okay, you know, where are we strong, where do we still need some work, and what can we do next time to improve and to tweak the system. So it's, I think in that way, it's dynamic data, which is not, I think, always our experience with data collection.
I think one of the things that our shift has been from looking at evaluation as something that is static to something that is dynamic. It's a process, and it's a never-ending process. You've constantly got to be checking with the environment, and that environment just so happens to be kids' lives in a school. What's connecting in what way and what isn't, and so it is ongoing. It is now part and parcel of what we do.
Sometimes you have to demonstrate to people that it is successful.
And so all those pieces come together, and watching the data all the time helps us keep track of what's going on.
The work in progress part is the part that I really tell everybody that I've talked to, that every year kids change, they need different things, and that's something that they have to keep in mind when they're developing the program for their school, is that, you know, things do need to change. Continually a work in progress.
Our goal is always to get better, to evaluate the effectiveness of the way that we've done things and to change it. If it's not working, let's acknowledge that. Let's not close our eyes and say, well, that's the program, so we're going to do it anyway. If it's not working, then we need to acknowledge that. We need to say, why isn't it working? And what do we have to do to change it, to make it better?
As part of navigation, researchers are going to be collecting data from the school sites that are implementing, and I know most of it comes directly out of the student record system, and so we don't have to worry about that, although it'll be great to get that information back and be able to make sense of it. But I know that information about the conferences themselves that we have in terms of parent and student perception is absolutely critical. I know that there are some real critical times in a student's life around what we call points of matriculation, going from middle to junior high to high, and so they want to get a sense of whether the navigation intervention is making any inroads in reducing the dropout rate for students moving from between those levels. They're going to deal with enrollment and success in gatekeeper courses. For navigation, that's been defined around 3 courses: advanced algebra, chemistry, and physics. And that came from a study done in 2004 that talks about these 3 courses being better predictors, in a sense, of ultimate baccalaureate degree for a student than socioeconomics, grade point average. And so the researchers have decided that, well, let's then measure these 3. A fourth indicator that researchers are wanting to collect from the schools deals with our WASL scores. I'd like to think of that as achievement. If in fact these interventions of curriculum-driven advisories and portfolios that represent a kid's story and a way to put evidence together to plan for the future, and the conference that cements that, and being able to then schedule for courses that are going to move them towards that career goal, that we're going to see, as that happens, kids that are going to be more linked to their education and be more successful. The more successful they are, my estimation is that they're going to do better on that WASL, which obviously is linked to graduation. Another key indicator is, are students coming out the end successful in high school? Is their education in high school purposeful? Is it meeting their needs for who they see themselves as and the direction that they are wanting to go in their lives? And we know in this day and age that that key indicator really has to be a starting point, and that is that high school diploma. We're excited about the last evaluation point, which is the remedial needs of kids in their transition after high school. We want to know if, after all this work that these kids have done to be intentional and to get into the right courses, that it in fact will help make that bridge to truly be post-secondary leveled skills when they arrive at the community college, or other post-high opportunity. We know that that data is one of those pieces that we won't have to collect ourselves, can be accessed directly from the State Board for Community Colleges. But we're excited for the first time to be able to see and use that data in planning with our staff around our curriculum and the kinds of approaches we're using to keep kids connected. Because one of the promises of navigation just isn't encouraging kids to take the kinds of challenging courses to make them successful, but to support them in those courses. And their achievement of these skills is the best indicator that they've been supported.
We collect data on college classes, college prep classes that they're going into.
We keep track of freshman failure.
You write down how many kids we have in our connection class, we get how many parents came in, how many kids came by themselves.
What are we seeing in course-taking patterns?
But also we do surveys about student satisfaction, parent satisfaction.
The anecdotal or the perceptual data can really cause an institution to look at itself.
Schools really have a fairly defined and limited role in the data collection that the researchers are requiring under the navigation program, mostly around student-led conferences and the gatekeeper courses and student success in those.
Right.
The rest is collected by the researchers and then provided back to the districts to be able to do the reflection and the interpreting and planning based on that.
In terms of collecting the student-led conference data, we try to build that information that we need right into the teacher's lesson plan. And so the final step before teachers leave for the day or leave for the week is to report out their individual numbers. The same is built into the student-led conference itself. So the last step of completing a conference is for the student and the parent to evaluate their experience on that day. And so it's, at first hand it may seem like another layer of work, and it is to an extent, but it's not a big time commitment on our part to collect that data. It's rewarding. I mean, it's rewarding on many different levels. We can see that it's impacting students, but it's also impacting the way our teachers view this whole process. It's impacting the way parents perceive schools and the way they interact with us. It's impacting our superintendent and administration and school board because they are actively engaged in evaluating this process as well.
I think the data has always been available to us, and we've been interested in it, but not in a very organized a fashion as we should be and could be. And I think the Navigation 101 program has encouraged us to seek the data that indicates what difference are we making with students in our high school, both while they're here and when they leave. And it has really encouraged us to get outside of our comfortable shell of saying, well, we know this is best for kids, so this is why we need to do it, and be able to say, we know it's best for kids because the data shows that.
The students are telling us that it's working.
What we've seen is, parents have said, pretty resoundingly, I think in the 90 percentiles of, it's been useful, it's been effective.
Last year, I was really upset because there's a contest, and I only missed by one. I just had one student didn't show up at the parent for a conference.
We went from 20% participation on arena-style conferencing with our parents to this year, I believe we were around 70%.
The data that we're beginning to get from the colleges also indicates that the number of remedial courses that our students are having to take in math and English is decreasing.
When I started at Grandview High School, we didn't have one AP class, and I think I was told next year there's 8.
And the data that we're getting indicates that as we focus and provide tools and support and strategies for freshman students, that they do feel more positive and more hopeful, and a sense of, I can do this.
Okay, one of the powerful pieces about evaluating what we do in terms of navigation is that we are able to see if we are touching every student. And so, for example, I'm just kind of looking at one of the surveys that we've done just over the past month with our conferencing, and 82% of our students, and these are sophomores in this case, and so oftentimes sophomores are not really thinking about graduation and beyond, but we're kind of forcing the point, we're making a part of the process. 82% of sophomores said that this conference and this process leading up to the conference helped improve a plan for graduation. The same parents report 90% satisfaction on that data point. And so to us, that's huge. I mean, that means that we've got 15 and 16-year-olds who are taking this process seriously across the board. And it's not just a select group of honor students. This is 80 to 90% of students and parents across the board that are engaged in a meaningful process about their post-high school plans. Well, I think one of the main data points that jumps out is parent attendance. And so, we all understand that if we want to move a system forward, that parents are a key element. Traditionally, parents have not been a key part of conferencing at the high school level. So if we go back 5 years ago, we had approximately 23% of our parents participating in conferences. With the student-led conference model, we've basically tripled that. Well, we should mention that we have, at Bremerton High School, we have seen a significant increase in our graduation rate over the past 2 years. And I think with any of these data points, we're not claiming that navigation is the single reason that explains the story, but it's a part of it. What we're doing is making education more meaningful, helping students make informed decisions about their educational program, and I think that part of the end result is that we've got a greater graduation rate. And you can see our WASL results climbing each year for the past 4 years. I guess at the end of the day, it's a situation where we're always saying, why can't we get to the next level? But then we have to step back and say, wow, look how far we've come in the past several years, and you have to celebrate at that point. You're always striving to go higher, but that's where the data can really help you say, hey, we have made a significant gain, and what we're doing is making a difference.